If you love classic cars, then Donald loves you. Hi, I'm Donald Osborne, and I'm here in the Audrain Automobile Museum in Newport, Rhode Island, in our exhibition Shining Bright, Advances in Automotive Lighting. And we're not here today to talk about automotive lighting. We've spoken about this wonderful 1937 Bentley 4¼ liter drop head by Carlton before, and the amazing Marshall lights that it wears. I'm here to talk more about the car. Now, I know that it's really not fair to pick your favorite. You know, it's like your favorite child, your favorite dog, your favorite cousin. But I have to admit, and freely admit, that this car is my favorite car in the exhibition. And that's saying a lot because there are some great masterpieces in this exhibition, from the 1901 Winton through the 1912 Packard to the 2015 Porsche 918. But this car just has such incredible spirit and style. It really speaks to me, and I think that's the connection that we all want to have with cars. The cars that make our pulses race and make us excited to be near them. Just walking through the gallery every day, I always come by this car just to take a look and see another detail that I perhaps haven't noticed before or just want to appreciate again. And it's also, this car, I'm drawn to this car because I'm always drawn slightly to the underdog. And everyone loves vintage Bentleys. Vintage Bentleys are a cornerstone of the collector car world. But people tend to only concentrate on the Cricklewood Bentleys. The first Bentleys built by the company started by Walter Owen Bentley, and which lasted until it went into receivership and was purchased by Rolls-Royce in 1931. This, of course, is a 1937, is one of the Derby Bentleys. That's Derby to those of us who don't live in the UK. And this is a car built on the platform, the chassis of the Rolls-Royce 2025, the junior Rolls-Royce, not the Phantom. And as such, Bentley purists think, well, it's not really the car that WO wanted to build. It doesn't have a real Bentley engine. It's got a Rolls-Royce engine in it. And so, who cares? It's just a badge-engineered Rolls-Royce. Well, that really isn't true, because Rolls-Royce at this time marketed the Bentley as the silent sports car. And they actually did go to great efforts to make sure that these cars performed in a very different way than the Rolls-Royce, especially the 2025, which was a rather staid and conservative car for the person who wanted the Rolls-Royce quality but didn't want the flash and expense of a Phantom. But they took the Rolls-Royce engine, put dual carburetors on it, a hotter camshaft, and also looked at the chassis and lowered it so that it sat lower in the suspension, so that the bodies built by the custom body builders also sat lower in the chassis, and most bodies that went onto these Bentley 4¼ chassis were much lighter than equivalent bodies put on the Rolls-Royce 2025. This car was built by the Carlton Carriage Company. And the Carlton Carriage Company had its roots back in the days of the carriage trade. And these bodies, they built very few, actually they built 4 Carlton-bodied Bentley 4¼ cars. This is the only open one. And this car, to me, has all of the spirit that you want in a Bentley. It feels muscular, it feels sporting, but it also seems very, very elegant at the same time. It's got an almost continental look to it. Certain cars just become legendary, and a lot of people don't know why. One of the things I am most grateful for in the job that I do is the fact that I get to experience some of the greatest cars in the world. And quite frankly, I always knew that people thought that vintage Bentleys were an amazing thing, so advanced and such an amazing experience to drive. And I had finally the chance to drive a vintage Bentley about 7 years ago. It was a 3-liter, so a Cricklewood Bentley, and I was absolutely astonished. People often talked about the gear change, how daunting it was, and I managed to, by pure luck I'm sure, master the gear change fairly quickly. And it was astonishing to see that this car from the 1920s felt so modern, so powerful, so capable on the road. And that's the legend of the Cricklewood Bentley. So then the answer is, how does a Derby Bentley compare to that? Quite frankly, it has probably 3/4 or maybe even 7/8 of that same driving experience, but it's a much easier car to drive. This car has a 4-speed transmission with synchromesh on the top gears, which makes it a lot easier to drive than the crash box in the older Bentleys. But besides that, it still has that feeling of security that you can not imagine in a car of the 1930s, certainly not a car of the 1920s for sure, but even on this Rolls-Royce chassis, there's something about the combination of the way the body fits on the frame, the way the steering is arranged, and the power of the engine that really gives you great confidence in a car that you would not expect of this age. And then, frankly, there's the beauty of it. You don't have to be a great fan of Downton Abbey just to imagine how wonderful it must have been to be a gentleman or lady of great privilege in the 1930s. It was a fairly rough time, but can you imagine the experience of driving a car like this and driving it out in the countryside on an open road and coming to a great house for the weekend? Frankly, I wouldn't want to go riding or shooting. I just want to get back into the Bentley and drive back to London just for the experience. This is an amazing car and one which truly deserves the Bentley name. Hi, it's Donald Osborne with the answer to this week's Audrain Auto Museum Fun Fast Fact quiz question. Why did Ducati choose the name Panigale for their high-performance bike? The answer is D. The V4R is named for the Borgo Panigale, the section of Bologna, Italy, where the factory is located. Thanks for watching our videos and for playing our quiz. If you like these videos, let your friends know. Subscribe, comment, share.